there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is going on, IE Sports Radio fans? What is going on? It is your boy, the SoCal Saint, back at it again with another fresh episode of the IE Elite Wrestling Show. It's your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the network. That is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. If you're not already doing so, please follow. Click that like button, follow at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, and follow me, your boy, the SoCal Saint. The new Twitter handle is at IE Elite Pod. That's IE Elite Pod. Please follow your boy. What is going on? Shout out to Larry B, the head honcho, the main eventer, the godfather himself of IE Sports Radio. He's in the chat room. Ooh, yeah, what's going on? He's the cream in the crop, because the cream always rises to the top. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, damn. Ooh, jeez. Larry's asking for some Macho Man. Let me do it again, okay? Because I am, oh yeah, the man of the hour. Too sweet to be sour. I'm the cream of the crop because the cream always rises to the top. Yeah! That's the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah! Get into the madness. Yeah! Ooh, yeah! That was just for you, Larry. That hurt my throat a little bit, but that was just for you, man. What is going on, guys? I know I took a week off, unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties and whatnot, but I am back here live on our same SoCal Saint time, same SoCal Saint channel. That is right, for the WrestleMania recap, among other things. So much has happened since WrestleMania. Besides WrestleMania itself, there was the earth-shattering news of the merger, and I want to touch on that real quick because I feel like that's the biggest news. It's kind of hard to ignore. The merger of Ultimate Fighting Championship, MMA's the tip of the tip top of MMA, the UFC, World Wrestling Entertainment, the tip top, the mecca of professional wrestling. These two brands are now going to be merged under one umbrella because of a earth-shattering deal that has been made with the parent company to the UFC, Endeavor, and to the WWE. WWE has been sold, and now WWE is going to be under the same umbrella as the UFC. There should not be any sort of like, oh my god, look, it's The Undertaker in the Octagon type shit going on. That's not going to be happening. That's not happening. And just ask Dana White. That fucking douche, he had a little pissy fit whenever somebody kept asking questions about this merger. He got all upset and just walked off the last little press conference he had because for some reason he just can't handle the fact, well, too bad, buddy. Sorry. You have no say in the matter. You're just the president of the UFC. You have no say in what happens with your parent company that owns the company that you work for. You're an employee, bro. Don't forget that. You could be replaced. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, yes, this big merger has happened. The company now will be restructured in such a way that Vince McMahon will still be considered the executive chairman of the WWE, but the overall boss for both companies is still the head of Endeavor. I believe his name is Ari Emanuel. I believe that's his name. Yes, he will still be the head honcho in charge of both companies. Will there be some cross-promotion? I'm sure. I'm sure WWE will start promoting UFC events and vice versa, that UFC will start having to promote WWE events that are up and coming. But as far as like stars interacting with each other and things like that, that's probably not going to happen unless these guys are finishing up their MMA career and they want to venture into something else where they can still be physical yet not take years off their life. A la Brock Lesnar and Rowdy Ronda Rousey. We've already seen he is a known or huge wrestling fan in UFC former heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Cormier. He actually officiated a match between Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle last year, and he was in the crowd at WrestleMania this past year. So, there is some cross-promotion there. It's hard. It's really hard to find an MMA fan that isn't a WWE fan or used to be one, or vice versa. People can lie all they want, say they don't watch it or used to watch it or whatever, but somehow it's kind of hard to have one without the other. You know what I mean? Like, one of those things was your introduction to the other. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really know what the UFC was until I was a wrestling fan, because Ken Shamrock came from the Ultimate Fighting world. Ken Shamrock was a WWE superstar at the time I started watching wrestling, and just hearing about Ken Shamrock's history in the Octagon, quote-unquote, made me actually do some research into itself, and I found out what the Octagon was, and that's how I was introduced into the world of MMA, was because Ken Shamrock was such a prominent face on WWE television during the Attitude Era. So there you go. It just seems like these two worlds go hand in hand, whether they want to or not, whether purists want that to happen or not. But it is what it is. And for newer fans, they'll know that with Brock, I would think Brock Lesnar would be their window into the UFC world, unless they are already a UFC fan and followed Brock to the WWE, vice versa. He would be the newer generation of that for how Ken Shamrock was for me. So this deal was made official the day after the second night of WrestleMania. So on Monday, April 3rd, it was officially announced that the merger was complete. This business transaction had been done, and we will see what happens in the future. There's a lot of stuff going on still that hasn't really come to light. I just know that Triple H is still head of creative, far as we know. Vince, on the interview that he had with Ari Emanuel sitting next to him stated that he's no longer in the trenches or whatever, however you want to take it. But I don't know. The Raw after Mania sure shows that Vince had his hand in that, because I guess he just couldn't help himself, because that was one of the worst post-Mania Raws ever. Those shows are usually like a must-see, but damn, I could have done without. That's how bad that was. But I'm done with talking about what took place with this deal, and let's move on to recapping WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania weekend was just 2 weekends ago, and it was awesome. It was just a great time to be a wrestling fan. A lot of great wrestling was out there. If you watched any of the other shows that were being presented, either on Fight TV or Ring of Honor's Honor Club, or on pay-per-view, however you could get your wrestling, online, live streaming, however you could get it. A lot of great wrestling took place this past WrestleMania weekend. Of course, one of the things that took place was the Ring of Honor. I want to touch on it real quick. Supercard of Honor. It was the Friday before WrestleMania Night 1. That took place actually at the same time as the Hall of Fame ceremony, or before the Hall of Fame ceremony, because that was also the Friday before WrestleMania Night 1. Every championship was retained by its current champion, except for we did crown new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions in the Lucha Brothers, Rey Fenix and his brother El Penta Zero M, at lasted Aussie Open, the Kingdom, and the Martin Brothers to win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles in the Reach for the Sky ladder match. Unfortunately, if anyone saw the clip that's been circulating on the internet since that night, I say prayers and well wishes to Dante Martin. He suffered a fucking nasty injury. Some people, if you're squeamish, don't go searching for it. If you have a hard time watching anything where like bones are legit broken or appendages and limbs are facing the wrong direction, because he took a nasty bump off a ladder through a table with Penta. It was a Canadian destroyer. For those who don't know what that is, it's a front flipping pile driver from a ladder to the outside of the ring through 2 tables, and Dante Martin landed right on his fucking ankle, his left ankle, and it literally was facing at a 180 degree angle. So he's gonna be out indefinitely for quite some time, because that was broken. There's no way around that. It was legit broken. So that really sucks for him, because he's very young in his career. Hopefully this does not set him back, and hopefully this is an injury that he can come back from, especially with him being a high-flying type of wrestler. Hopefully this does not hurt him in a way where he has to change his style upon returning. I would definitely suggest not taking a crazy-ass bump like that ever again. You know, there's just I know a lot of wrestlers today like to do a lot of crazy stuff, to pop the crowd, but there's just, you gotta find the line, guys. You gotta know where too crazy is too crazy. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to have a prolonged career, 1, and 2, a somewhat pain-free, if not at all, at least somewhat pain-free existence after your time in the ring is over. Just ask Mick Foley. After all these years, he's still in pain, and he even notes that the Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker, of course, the famous Hell in a Cell match from King of the Ring 1998, he's still feeling the effects of that match to this day. So thoughts and prayers out to Dante Martin. You have a speedy recovery so you can come back to Ring of Honor and AEW as soon as you can. We crowned a new Ring of Honor Pure Champion, and Katsuyori Shibata defeating the former Ring of Honor Pure Champion in William is it Will Yoda? Will fuck, I forgot his name. the young Asian guy that's in the Blackpool Combat Club. That's how much you can tell I don't keep up with AEW lately because Wheeler, goddamn, it just popped into my head. Wheeler Yuta. Okay, so Shibata defeated Wheeler Yuta to become the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. That is nuts. 6 years ago, Shibata hit Kazuchika Okada with a headbutt that literally, I mean, it was like, if you heard that me clapping my hands, it was the loudest smack. This was in an arena full of Japanese fans. He smacked him in the, like, dead-on headbutt to Kazuchika Okada, bleeding from his head. After that match, he collapsed backstage and nearly died. Yes, nearly died from a hemorrhage that he gave himself from that headbutt and dehydration. He was told he would never wrestle again. And 6 years later, he is now holding a championship in Ring of Honor. So, I mean, I guess you can say miracles do happen because Shibata was able to fight back from near death to still being able to compete at a high level in professional wrestling, and he is now the Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Champion. So congrats to Shibata, congrats to the Lucha Brothers on their victories at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. One thing I want to touch base on, I hope Larry's still in the chat room listening on. The Hall of Fame had some great speeches. Stacy Keibler, she had a very nice little speech. She thanked the fans for all that they did for her in her career, which was really nice. It's really hard to hate that woman, or I don't know if anyone could even say a bad thing about Stacy Keibler, to be honest, because she just seems so genuinely nice and kind to anyone, fans included. So she had a very nice speech and a very nice introduction speech from Tori Wilson and Mick Foley, of all people. Mick Foley was a co-inductor of Stacy Keibler, along with her best friend Tori Wilson. So that was really nice to see. Great Muta, he was a man of very few words because he even admitted himself that he did not speak very good English. But he thanked the crowd, took a bow, and did his green mist spit into the air. So that was really cool. Apparently Ric Flair got a lot of flack for his speech because Rick, being Rick, was talking more about himself than he was talking about the person that he was inducting, which was the Great Muta. But there was a touching moment there just before Muta accepted the honor of his induction into the Hall of Fame when Rick was fighting back tears and shared a little bit of a personal story with the crowd where he said that his son Reed, for those who don't know, Ric Flair's youngest son, Reed Flair, passed away quite a while ago. I wonder if it's been about 10 years now. It almost is. I think it's almost been 10 years. Rick's son, Reed, passed away due to an unfortunate heroin overdose. But before he got addicted to drugs, he was attempting to become a professional wrestler, just like his father. And one of the legendary wrestlers that took him under his wing was Rick's friend and former opponent, the Great Muta. And Rick shared a touching little story that this man treated my son like he was his own flesh and blood, and Rick was fighting back tears, and he just wanted to thank Muta for taking care of Reed during his time in Japan. And then the crowd stood up and gave a nice ovation for Muta to hear that story. That's really nice to hear. That's something very personal that the Nature Boy shared with the crowd about the Great Muta. So that was really nice to see, especially after Rick spent like almost 20 minutes talking about himself. That's the Nature Boy, right? Woo! Anyway, then we had the nice Warrior Award recipient, former referee Tim White. His two brothers accepted on his behalf because Tim White is no longer with us. God rest his soul. But it was very nice to see his brothers out there. One of his brothers is a spitting image of Tim White. If you haven't seen that induction, go check it out because they do this video package for Tim. And then when they introduced the brothers, one of his brothers looks exactly like him. It's crazy, and they're not twins. It's just he just looks just like him. And then we had Andy Kaufman. For people who aren't big comedy fans or not old school comedy fans, Andy Kaufman, of course, former SNL cast member, and he was a cast member on the 1970s show Taxi. And he also had a very famous feud in wrestling with Jerry the King Lawler, a fellow Hall of Famer, was inducted into the Hall of Fame, which was nice to see. I thought that was long overdue because Andy Kaufman was literally, if not legitimately, the very first celebrity to ever be a part of the wrestling world. And he was accepted upon, the honor was accepted by his sister and his brother, his widow, and his daughter, his daughter and his granddaughter. And they told a nice story that Andy didn't do this for fame. He did this because he loved professional wrestling, just like we as fans do. He was a big fan of professional wrestling. And he said his brother said that everybody told him, like, what are you doing? This is going to ruin your career. And Andy could only respond with, I can't, because I love it. And I just am so excited to be a part of it. So it's really nice. It would have been fantastic if Andy was still with us to have been able to have accepted the award on his own behalf. But that was really great to see that Andy Kaufman was able to be honored that way. Finally, very long overdue. Probably the most legitimate member of the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame, for sure. I would say Andy Kaufman, along with most likely, I would say I would put Mike Tyson and Mr. T up there as the most legitimate celebrity members of the WWE Hall of Fame, for sure. And the big night, the end of the night ended up with a very fantastic speech by K-Dog Conan, who gave probably the best speech in Hall of Fame history, I have to say. One of the most legendary. It'll live on in the annals of time. I mean, maybe I'm going a little crazy saying that, but as far as inductors, speaking on the behalf of the inductee, Conan gave a hell of a speech talking about Rey Mysterio. And Rey came out and gave a great speech. He got emotional during it when fans would be shouting, "Oh, we love you!" And Rey's like, "I love you too, man." So it was really nice to see Rey Mysterio, one of the few active members of the WWE roster, to also be a WWE Hall of Famer. It was just awesome. Rey deserves it above all else, I would say. Rey is one of the most deserving wrestlers to be in the Hall of Fame, representing La Raza every chance he gets, which is so fucking cool. I am half black and half Mexican. My best friends, of course, know this about me. Very proud of both. And Rey representing Latinos everywhere. Like I stated, that's my dad's favorite wrestler. My favorite wrestler, of course, was Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul. And him and Rey, their matches, always magic in the ring, those two. It was just great to hear Rey talk about his come up. He started at a very young age, wanting to be in this business, 12 or 13 years of age. It's crazy. I mean, Rey was a kid doing this. This is all he ever wanted to do. And look at him now. Rey is arguably the most famous Mexican wrestler in the world today, if not ever. I might just say ever. He's definitely the most famous masked luchador in the world. I know in Mexico, they have their legends like Blue Demon or El Santo, of course. El Santo is like a god in Mexico. But Rey Mysterio is just universally famous when it comes to professional wrestling. So, congrats to all the 2023 Hall of Fame inductees this year. Very, very well deserved to each and every one of them, for sure. We can get into the first night of WrestleMania here. Let's jump into that. The first night of WrestleMania, man, I was tweeting up a storm that day because every match was just awesome. Awesome. Oh, well, you know what? Sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I do apologize. Let's jump into NXT's big show before the big show. During the day of WrestleMania night 1 was NXT Stand and Deliver. That actually took place. I think the start time was like 10 or 11 in the morning that day, and they had a great show as well. We crowned a new NXT Women's Champion in the NXT ladder match for the NXT Women's title. Indy Hartwell, with the help of her beau, her husband, quote unquote, her kayfabe husband, Dexter Lumis, showing up at the last moment to help her climb that ladder to grab the gold for the first time. Big win for Indy Hartwell. I was so glad to see her finally get a big win. Indy Hartwell, now a NXT Women's Champion. She defeated Roxanne Perez, who was the former champion, Zoe Stark, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, and Gigi Dolan. And in a 8-person mixed tag team match for the control of Chase University, Tyler Bate and Chase University members Thea Hall, Duke Hudson, and Andre Chase defeated the Schism, Joe Gacy, Rip Fowler, Jagger Reed, and making her in-ring debut, the daughter of the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment. Yes, The Rock. The Rock's daughter, his firstborn child, going by the ring name of Ava Raine, which is now just shortened down to Ava, made her in-ring debut at NXT Stand and Deliver in a losing effort, unfortunately, but I heard she had I'd missed the match because it was actually on the pre-show, but I heard she did very well in her first showing into the ring. Isn't that nuts? Like, when you think about it, like, damn, I've been watching wrestling long enough now that The Rock's daughter is now in wrestling. That's just fucking nuts to me. Isn't that? I don't know if Larry's still listening. Isn't that nuts? Just think about that. I've been watching wrestling long enough that The Rock's daughter, his firstborn daughter, is now a professional wrestler. I'm like almost speechless at that thought. But Chase University and Tyler Bate were able to pull out the victory. Schism on the losing end. Chase University still in the hands of Andre Chase and followers. And then we got a triple threat tag team match for the NXT tag team titles. Gallus, Mark Kofi, and Wolfgang defeated the Family, Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and the Creed brothers, Julius and Brutus Creed, to retain the NXT tag team titles when the brother of Mark Kofi, that's right, Joe Coffey, showed up at the end of the match, costing D'Angelo and Stacks the tag team titles. And in a awesome match, one of the best matches of the weekend for sure. If you haven't seen it, you should go back and watch it. Fatal 5-way match for the NXT North American title. Just all young talent in this match, just putting balls to the wall. Wesley defeated and retained the NXT North American Championship by defeating Axiom, the debuting Dragon Lee, Ilya Dragunov, and JD McDonough. And then we went on to another fantastic match, non-sanctioned match between Grayson Waller and Mr. Takeover himself, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano from the Raw brand. These guys beat the snot out of each other. The closing moments of the match was awesome. Johnny hitting, putting a chair over Grayson Waller's head, and then taking another chair and blam, hitting Grayson's in the chair, in the face with the chair. He hit the chair into his face, the one that was around his neck. Hit Grayson with the Gargano escape. Grayson had no choice but to tap out. And Johnny Gargano gets the victory and bragging rights over Grayson Waller forevermore. And we had another tag team match for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn defeated Fallon Henley and Kiana James to win the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. And in the main event, this was the one I was excited for. He don't miss, and he is who I'm talking about. That is Carmelo Hayes. We are now living in the him era because Carmelo Hayes defeated Braun Breaker to become the new NXT champion. And I knew he was winning the minute he came out to the ring. He had this dope-ass entrance where his Titantron, the video screen, on the giant video screen, Larry's going to like this if he's still listening. Carmelo Hayes' logo was the Los Angeles Lakers logo, but with his name in the letters of the Lakers, Carmelo Hayes. And as a tribute to late, great Kobe Bryant, on his knee pad, he had the number 8. And his gear was purple and gold. Carmelo Hayes came out to L.A. representing Laker pride, brother. Shit was dope. As a Lakers fan, lifelong Lakers fan, I was like, dude, that's the dude. He's winning. He's got to win. He was representing that's right. Yeah, Larry. That's right. He was representing the Lake Show. Man, it was dope. His entrance was sick. I was like, yeah, he's winning because he came out looking like a champ. He's got a walkout champ, and that's exactly what happened. Carmelo Hayes is the new NXT champion, and we are now living in the him era of NXT. He is now. It's hard to hate this guy because he was one of the best heels they had on the roster. Now, by proxy, he's got to be the biggest babyface on the roster for NXT because the follow-up episode to Stand and Deliver, which was NXT that Tuesday after WrestleMania weekend, Braun Breaker, the former champion that Carmelo defeated, went full heel and took out Carmelo Hayes' buddy Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, leaving them laying in the ring. So it was like they flipped the script. So now Braun Breaker is on the heel side of things, and Carmelo Hayes is now going to be the hero of NXT as the NXT champion. So there's more to come. We'll keep an eye on the NXT brand, but that was a great match between Hayes and Breaker. It was just, that was such a dope ass entrance by Hayes. I still can't get over that. I love that, every bit of it. Oh, and another thing, Larry's going to get a kick out of this. Before it even revealed his name on the screen, when Carmelo Hayes, before he even walked out, on the screen, just like they have in the formerly known as the Staples Center, the rafters, for Lakers, they have the hanging jerseys of the retired Lakers. Carmelo Hayes, on his video before his entrance, had Lakers-style jerseys. They were yellow and gold, they're gold jerseys popping up on the screen, but on the names of the jerseys was everybody he's defeated, and it was just this long-ass list of everybody he's beaten before he made his entrance. I thought that shit was cool, the way they did that. I was like, oh, damn, it's like the retired jerseys. So that was a nice little touch there. All the basketball fans that were in attendance for that definitely ate that shit up. I know I did. Man, that's what it is, man. WrestleMania, it's like they go all out. They go all out. They always take it to that next level, man. That's why, like, if you're a wrestling fan, even just, like, in the slightest, like, just a casual, just like, yeah, if I don't watch wrestling all year, I'll at least watch WrestleMania. This is why, because WrestleMania weekend always brings out the best in the WWE superstars. And speaking of the best, one of the best nights of WrestleMania in recent memory was definitely WrestleMania Night 1. That show was on par from beginning to end. What a fantastic night of wrestling. The first night, of course, I announced it on my show before WrestleMania. It kicked off with John Cena against Austin Theory for the WWE United States Championship. John Cena came out. He had a really nice entrance. He had at least like 5 or 6 Make-A-Wish kids on the stage with him, and I know that had to be probably the best night of those kids' lives. You know what I mean? To stand on the stage with their hero, the man that they wanted to see, that they wish for, that they wish to spend some time with. John Cena, of course. John Cena holds the record for fulfilling the most Make-A-Wish wishes, over 600 and some, it's something ridiculous, like over 650 wishes that this guy has fulfilled for these young kids. Say what you want about John Cena's in-ring ability, but John Cena is one of those. He's a salt of the earth. He's one of those just. He puts others above himself, especially kids that are in need. So that's really awesome to see. And they're all decked out in all new John Cena gear. John Cena, of course, on big nights like this, John always comes out with a new T-shirt. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I've never owned a John Cena T-shirt. The John Cena T-shirt that he came out with looked like a box for a G.I. Joe action figure. It said, "You can't see me," in the style of the G.I. Joe lettering. And then on the back of his shirt, you know how like most toys usually show you like, oh, like these are the rest of the toys in the collection? It was different versions of John Cena throughout his career, like other versions that you could purchase. Like it had prototype John Cena, and it had debut John Cena, and it had Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena, and Chain Gang Leader John Cena. It had each era of John Cena's career on the back of the shirt, like a picture, like an action figure picture, and it had a little bio underneath that, because each G.I. Joe toy came with like a bio of what the character's name was and what he stood for. So I thought that was pretty cool. They had a pretty decent match. I would say just a go run of the mill, nothing too special. It's like you get what you get with John Cena, and that was the type of match that you saw. Oh, shout out to Larry. He said he just watched the Carmelo Hayes entrance. Yeah, I told you. It was dope, right? Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Look it up on YouTube. It's awesome. But back to WrestleMania Night 1. And Austin Theory, I want to say, I guess technically he beat John Cena cleanly. He hit him with a low blow, and then hit him with his A-Town Down face buster. 1, 2, 3. Austin Theory defeats John Cena in the opening contest of WrestleMania Night 1. The next match on the card was a match that I talked about. I even said this when I was tweeting during WrestleMania that I had the littlest interest in this match because it was just kind of like a nothing thrown together match. But boy, did all 8 of these guys involved in this match just blow me away. I'm sure they were hearing that all weekend long, especially on social media, like, oh, this match is just thrown together, like, nobody cares about this match. These guys made sure that everybody was invested in this match because me and my dad were on the edge of our seats watching this match. It was an awesome, awesome match. It was the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, and the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar with Valhalla by their side. And these guys put on an awesome 4-way tag team match. It was great. There was these huge spots. Chad Gable had this badass spot where he German suplexed, not just German suplex, he did a rolling German suplex, just pure strength, slamming the much larger Braun Strowman into the ground. It was crazy. And then they had a lot of high-flying spots. Ricochet doing a standing shooting star press to the outside of the ring. Oh, man. And then it finally came to an end with the Montez Ford hitting a huge frog splash on Ricochet. 1, 2, 3, the Street Profits defeating the teams of Strowman and Ricochet, the Viking Raiders, and Alpha Academy. What a great match. This crowd was super hot for it. This crowd was so excited. They were just on the edge of their seats, just like my dad and I were watching this match at home. It was great. Tag team wrestling, guys. Hashtag tag team wrestling. That's all I got to say. That match was awesome. Third match on the card was, and this was on his birthday, the Maverick, I guess that's his nickname, Logan Paul, going one-on-one with Seth freaking Rollins. And this was the match, exactly what I thought it would be. It was a fantastic match. It was great. Logan Paul's entrance was really funny. Logan Paul came out kind of a la Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 1996 where he zip-lined to the ring, or at least to the stage, from the rafters. I mean, he looked very high up. I was a little nervous for him, to be honest. But he zip-lined to the stage, and then after he made it to the stage, out came somebody, we didn't know who because their face was covered up. Somebody came out dressed like a giant bottle of his energy drink, Prime, like a giant Prime bottle, a big giant blue Prime bottle. Logan Paul basically had his own company's mascot accompany him to the ring. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then Seth came out wearing this godly, huge robe, dress looking thing. I don't even know what to call it. It was very I know some people were saying, oh, it's very Macho Man Randy Savage. I don't remember Macho Man wearing a dress ever, but it definitely looked like he was wearing like a ballroom gown, some kind of shit that you would see at the Met Gala, one of the, or at the Oscars or something, one of those godly dresses that some crazy celebrity would wear. But anyway, Seth and Logan had a very athletic match. I mean, it goes without saying, and I can't believe I have to keep saying this because it's true. I got to give the guy his props. I know he only wrestles on a very part-time basis, Logan Paul, but man, this guy, if he were to go full-time, he would have a great career because he's very talented. He took to this wrestling very, very quickly and very, very easily. Much like Bad Bunny did whenever he had his WrestleMania match a few years ago. Logan Paul just really keeps, every time he steps in the ring, he's getting better and better. He has a great match every single time he steps in the ring. He's definitely athletic. He's definitely, he's got to put the naysayers to bed. This guy can go when it's time. He has great matches on big shows. Every single time he's given the ball, he runs with it. And him and Seth just had a very back and forth athletic match. A lot of high spots, a lot of dives, a lot of very just hard hitting, just beating the hell out of each other. And then the reveal, the ultimate reveal. If you're a fan of Logan Paul and you know about what he does outside of the wrestling business, and you know who his business partner is in Prime, then you know the guy that was under the bottle that when the face mask part of it was revealed, fucking KSI was the guy inside the Prime bottle. That shit was funny. When you see his face, I was like, holy shit, what the hell is KSI? What the hell is KSI doing at WrestleMania? And they had this fantastic spot where they laid out Seth, put him on the announcer table, and KSI had a cell phone, and he was like selfie recording. And right at the last second before Logan Paul jumped from the top rope to the table, Seth got up, pulled KSI onto the table, and Logan comes crashing through KSI through the table. If you haven't seen it, it's awesome. Check out the spot. Larry, if you're listening, anybody else in the chat room, go check it out. Look it up on YouTube. It's an awesome spot, but it's also really funny just the way it happened. And this led to Logan Paul being curb stomped into the mat. 1, 2, 3. Seth freaking Rollins defeats Logan Paul. Logan Paul suffers his first loss on his birthday at WrestleMania Night 1. And since then, his contract ended that day. But WWE was quick to re-sign him just a couple days ago. It's official. Logan Paul is back under contract to the WWE. Apparently on a multi-year basis, because I guess this first year just went so well, they had to lock him down for a few years. Who knows? I don't know the extent. I don't know if it's a 3-year deal or 5. I know WWE usually gives people like a 3 to 5 year deal originally when they first were signed. So that's probably something that Logan Paul has signed on to. He's probably got a 3 to 5 year deal. But yeah, it was a great match. Great match. And yeah, you should check out that KSI spot. And then we had the big match, Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky taking on the legendary, the beautiful Trish Stratus and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the other legendary, beautiful diva herself, Lita and Becky Lynch. And, of course, the Legends and Becky Lynch got the win. It was a so-so match. It was okay. Lita, maybe she's got a little bit of ring rust still, or just some leftover pain from her ring days. But she was moving a little slow. But when Trish got in there, she was great. She was great. She had a great time. She did great. Every spot that Trish did was fantastic. Becky was playing more of the seller in this match, where she was taking a lot more offense, and it was up to the Legends of Lita and Trish to kind of bail her out, and it ended up being Trish and Lita getting the victory for their team. Trish, Lita, and Becky Lynch getting a big win at WrestleMania Night 1. And then, boom, this next match, one of the bigger main event matches on the card. The recent WWE Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio, defeated his son, Dominic Mysterio, in a one-on-one match. That was awesome. Great match. The match from start to finish was fantastic. Dominic's entrance was dope. They went full in. They went all in on the prison Dom, a con Dom, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. Convict Dom, prison Dom storyline. They showed all this footage of prisons and stuff. They showed they filmed an actual vignette excuse me, of Dominic being taken from a jail cell to WrestleMania in a big SUV. When he came out, he was wearing he was like the dark version of Rey Mysterio. He had like a coat. He had a Rey Mysterio mask on, but it was like a dark purple and black colors, just disrespecting the legacy of Lucha Libre by wearing the mask, a mask that he has not earned yet, insulting his father and his legacy. It was fantastic. This guy, Dominic Mysterio, when I thought he turned heel, I didn't think that anything really big would come of it. But man, Dom has really surprised a lot of us wrestling fans, and Dominic Mysterio as a heel is working. He has got nuclear heat. This guy is probably one of the most natural heels that the company has just kind of lucked into. They didn't really have to do much for this crowd to just eat it up and just hate this guy with a vitriol hate. And they do. This isn't go away heat, like get off our TV screens. This is, I will pay good, hard-earned money to see you get your ass kicked. That's the type of heel that you want, and that's exactly what Dominic Mysterio has become in such a short amount of time. And this feud with his dad and this match that took place at WrestleMania was just the icing on the cake. It was just fantastic. And kudos to the Mysterio family of Rey's wife and his daughter, Aaliyah, were in the front row, and they played their part perfectly. They were fantastic. It's like this whole family is great at wrestling because they played their part fantastically. The utter annoyance and utter hatred of their son and brother Dominic. Dominic getting smacked by his mother. And then Dominic, apparently, I learned this after the fact, but apparently there was a spot where Dominic threw water in his sister's face, and that was not planned, according to Dominic in a recent interview. Said, like, yeah, I just saw that she had a cup, and I just took it upon myself, like, yeah, this is going to get some heat. So I grabbed the cup and I threw it in her face, and she legit, like, her reaction, because Aaliyah tried to jump over the barricade and attack Dominic. Apparently that was her legit reaction. She did not know he was going to do that, and she was really pissed off that he did that. So that in itself was fantastic. Bad Bunny even got involved because he was at ringside doing commentary for the Spanish announcers table. Rey Mysterio, awesome entrance. I have to say this: I'm such a softie. I'm such a sensitive man because it was awesome. Rey Mysterio came to the ring in an orange lowrider, driven by the one and only Snoop Doggy Dogg, the D-O-double-G himself, Snoop Dogg. And they drove him to the ring playing nothing but a G thing, baby. Too loped out, going crazy. Death Row is a label that pays me. Yes, they played nothing but a G thing for Rey Mysterio on the way to the ring. And then when the lowrider got into the arena, all of a sudden you just hear that awesome, that amazing entrance music of the late great Eddie Guerrero. Viva la raza! I lie, I cheat, I steal. I lie, I cheat, I steal. And I was like fighting back tears, man. Legit. Like I started like tearing up a bit. I was just like, damn, man. Eddie and Ray's right there with you, Eddie. And vice versa. Eddie's right there with you, Ray. And then, and the crowd popped big for that, hearing Eddie's music. That was just a nice little tribute to his late great friend, Eddie Guerrero. And it was just on from there, man. And then the Judgment Day tried to get involved, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And it was the interference of Bad Bunny, who saw that Damian Priest was trying to help Dominic, and Bad Bunny got in between them and interfered on Ray's behalf, helping Ray defeat his son. 1, 2, 3. Rey Mysterio gets the victory at WrestleMania Night 1. Before we talk about the last couple matches on WrestleMania Night 1, let's take a short little break here, and let's hear from some of our other shows on the IE Sports Network. IE Sports Radio Network. This is your boy, the SoCal Saint. You're listening to the IE Elite Wrestling Show, and we will be back in just a moment.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always willing to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.